Good morning. I'm Andy Myers at Weiss Research, and this is your morning market update for Thursday, June 2nd. Stocks on Wall Street are recovering a bit from yesterday's steep losses. The Dow Industrials suffered their biggest one-day point drop in almost a year, following disappointing data on the labor market. But today, the weekly reading of initial jobless claims seems to be painting a slightly different picture. 422,000 Americans filed first-time claims for unemployment benefits, a small decline from last week's upwardly revised reading. Economists had been expecting a bigger drop. But the 4-week moving average of jobless claims, a more accurate gauge of employment trends, fell to its lowest level in more than a month. Of course, this is all prelude to tomorrow's closely watched government employment report. Economists now expect that about 125,000 non-farm jobs were created last month. That's down from a prior consensus estimate closer to 200,000, and well below April's pace of 244,000. Separately, the final reading of first quarter productivity was revised slightly higher to 1.8%. Following the data, we continue to see some weakness in the dollar. It's falling to a 3-week low against the euro after comments from ECB President Jean-Claude Trichet boosted hopes for a more coordinated fiscal policy to deal with the high debts of Eurozone members. Today's move downward in the dollar is reversing some solid gains yesterday. Investors are looking for relative safety in the markets amid fears about the pace of the global economic recovery. Those concerns are also prompting a flood into Treasuries. The yield on the 10-year note remains below 3% this morning, after dropping through that level yesterday for the first time since December. On the corporate front, retailers are grabbing the spotlight as they report their May same-store sales figures. So far, the results seem to be a mixed bag, but as expected, luxury retailers and wholesalers are among the biggest winners. Shoppers at the high-end stores are less affected by rising inflation, while other consumers try to look for bargains on gasoline and food. That bargain hunting helped Costco Wholesale post a 13% jump in sales, while rival BJ's saw a 7.4% increase. And among the luxury names, Saks led the way with a 20% gain, sending that stock up 2.5% in early trading. However, the results were not quite as good for other retailers, as the sluggish economy and bad weather in much of the country put a dent in spending. Both Target and Limited Brands saw improvements in their same-store sales, but the results were not as good as expected. Shares of Limited are tumbling more than 5% on the news, making it the worst performer in the S&P 500. And Gap is losing 2% after another disappointing month. Sales at its Gap, Banana Republic, and Old Navy stores dropped 4% in May. That's the latest from Weiss Research. Have a great trading day.